Hello beautiful people, Jad here. I already made a video about why you should learn a new language and what the benefits are. But today I want to talk about 3 tips that help you learn this new language. But first of all, I'm gonna let you go watch that video and then you can come back and watch this one. I'm still waiting. You can go ahead. Okay, I'll start. Tip number 1. Force yourself to learn that language. And what I mean by that is that you can start by changing your phone's language to the language you're trying to learn. But this is a very basic, and I think a lot of people know of that tip, so I'm going to give you a bit more. What you can also do is, and it's what I did before moving to Quebec when I was living in Jordan, is that I subscribed to a channel that speaks in French. I like watching YouTube videos that might be about finance or money or language or whatever, something that I can benefit from. And so I took that opportunity and subscribed to a girl who lives in Quebec and who speaks in French, and it taught me about the culture of the city, the country that I'm moving to, and at the same time it helped me learn that language. If you're not the type to watch videos, what you can do is listen to podcasts. If you like to listen to podcasts, look up one that talks about a topic that you like in the language that you're trying to learn. Subscribe to that podcast and you'll start listening to it. Although it might be very hard at the beginning, but since you're interested in the topic that you're listening to or you're watching, it's gonna attract you and keep you focused and force you to learn that language. What you can also do is read articles if you're not the type to listen to podcasts even. You can read articles in the language that you're trying to learn. Also, although I don't advocate binge watching or spending the day watching Netflix, if you have a series you like to watch, you can put the language into the language you're trying to learn with the subtitles. So you learn how it's written at the same time how the pronunciation is done. And finally, there are songs that you can listen to, and it helps you get into the culture and learn more about them. And this leads me to my tip number 2. Learn about the culture and engage as much as possible. For me, it was much easier because I was living in a city where they speak that language. Here, when I moved to Montreal, I was trying to learn French. So I engaged in the culture by going apple picking. That's what Quebecers do. And I did snowboarding, I did ice skating, and as well as a lot of other activities and exercises that made me attracted to the culture and feel more as if I'm part of it. So I wanted to learn their language more. But if you don't have the ability to engage in that culture, well, you have other opportunities, such as maybe an online community that you can engage with and talk to. Maybe even a small community in the place where you're living in, the city you're living in, that are interested in learning that language. If you're in Jordan, you might find a Korean community that are trying to learn Korean, or maybe even a small number of Korean people who visit a Korean restaurant, or they have a cafe that they go to, and you can learn about that, especially with the use of internet at the moment. Another thing that I did other than engaging in activities is that I did volunteering. And volunteering, first of all, helps the community and gives you a sense of meaning and belonging and sense of pride. At the same time, it forces you to learn the language and engage with other people who are trying to learn the language, or even people who talk that language. And it's not in a very serious environment, so it helps you make mistakes and not worry about it. And this leads me to tip number 3. Embarrassment is part of the journey. No matter what you try to do, you're gonna mess up somewhere and you're gonna make a mistake that you feel silly and stupid about. For example, once I was meeting with a potential boss for an interview, and I said something as a compliment. And 2 days later, I realized that it was so wrong grammatically and just the expression itself that I felt so stupid. I was like, okay, I'm never getting that job. But the point is that no matter what you do, you're gonna mess up and you're gonna make these mistakes. So you have to know that, and when you acknowledge that, it's gonna be easier for you to be okay with it. Also, what I learned from my 3-year experience in Quebec, in Montreal, and speaking French with the people who live here, is that they always appreciate you trying. No matter how many mistakes you make, they appreciate just the fact that you're trying to learn their culture and learn their language and putting in the effort to talk to them in the language they talk. So these are my 3 tips. I finally want to say, be open-minded, have a goal in mind, and start sooner than later, and learn that language that you've always been wanting to learn. If you enjoyed the video and found it beneficial, please subscribe, like the video, and share your tips on how you learned a new language. I'll see you next week.